Hello and welcome to everybody out there on the information superhighway. Along with Brent Tracy, I'm Jim Russo. Welcome to episode 4 of Phillies Unfiltered. How are we doing today, Brent?
I'm doing quite well, Jim. How are you?
I'm doing okay. Now, week 2 of spring training is here, so we're going to get to talk about that today. I'm going to add another little segment. I have a random topic for us to talk about, and then we're introducing something new called Kids Corner. So
Yes.
You'll see Brent and myself ask our kids a question. We'll see maybe what team they were drafted by for their baseball league. Maybe see what else they're excited about this year. So I'm looking forward to hearing them and see what they have to say. And of course, Guess That Phillie.
Of course.
Right. So once we get things started today, Brent, how do you feel about games that are exclusively on streaming platforms such as Apple TV or Peacock?
So I don't love it, honestly. I get why they do that now. Everything's a money thing. You know, they're trying, there's reasons, there's business reasons to do it. But I think if you're trying to grow the game, right, you're trying to give as many people access so that you can get people interested. I think it's hard to do that when you have so many services and you're being, exclusive with them. And I know it's only like a handful it's like 2, 3, 4, whatever it is. Apple does it. Peacock, I guess, does it. But I mean, I just remember when I was a kid, it was, the local station, whatever it was, I had a number of them, but I mean, it was like,
Prism.
you had Comcast, Prism, Comcast Sportsnet, then it became NBC Sports, whatever. I mean, there was and then they were like, it was like the WB back in the day before it went to CW and all that stuff.
PHL 17.
Right. Yeah. They had all those things, and you knew where to find your team, right? And then there were the occasional, weekend games, like a Saturday Fox game, which I loved. I still remember that theme music. It's some of my favorite. I like it better than the football, honestly. I know the football is iconic, but I love the baseball music. I absolutely love it. So I miss those days where, I mean, and they still have them on Fox. I mean, they still have games on Fox. And but I mean, did you hear that ESPN is severing ties with MLB? That partnership is ending.
Yes, I did. And I'm not sure how I feel about that. I don't think the broadcast group for them is that great anyway.
No, it's dwindled over time. It's not John Miller and Joe Morgan anymore.
Right. John Miller and Joe Morgan were legendary voices.
Absolutely.
I know John Miller's still doing it for the Giants, and rest in peace, Joe Morgan. But But they were a great crew. I have a hard time listening to Carl Ravitch and whoever else is out there. I mean, A-Rod's all right at times, but
it's not the same. It's not the same. So it'll be interesting to see what happens in the wake of that. But the playoffs have been okay with TBS and that stuff. Like some of those guys, they have a lot of former Phillies on those analyst panels, between games and between innings. J-Roll was on there. Right. I think maybe Howard might have been on there at one point. And I know J-Roll was prominently on there last couple of years, though, and he was really good. He was a guest in our booth, actually, once or twice, and I said to my wife, I'm like, I really like how he is, analyzing the game. Like
to begin with.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, don't forget Pedro, former Philly.
Yeah, he was on there too. Absolutely. Yeah. No, that's a good point. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't really like it. I think it's kind of it's a little frustrating for fans probably to try and figure out where their team's playing, and then how to get it if you don't have it. A lot of people probably aren't, if they don't have a subscription to a particular platform, they're not likely going to pay it just to watch a game in a 162 game campaign. Like it's probably not worth the cost. We had Apple because of like Ted Lasso, and we watch a couple other shows on there that I really enjoy. So that wasn't a huge issue. I don't have Peacock right now, so I don't like it. I guess if I'm giving my answer, I don't really like it. I'd rather them make it simpler rather than more complicated to find baseball to watch.
I would prefer a dual broadcast. Like you can. Hey, if you're going to stream it on Apple, still have my NBC Sports Philadelphia. Like I want to be able to see my guys and hear my local broadcast.
Yeah.
I mean, hey, that's great that they want to expand audience for Apple TV and Peacock, but I'm thinking about the generation that doesn't use streaming services. I mean, we might have some older folks that don't use them at all. We might have just people our age that don't use these services. You said you don't have Peacock. I'm not a fan of just the exclusively broadcasted games, and the crews aren't even that good.
Oh my gosh. Some of the Apple, I don't even know who was doing them, but I was sitting there listening to it. I think it was last season, and I'm like, what is happening? Like, you couldn't, it was the most dull broadcast, and it just, like, there was no excitement. Even if you're an objective broadcaster, right? You're not a homer, you're supposed to be objective. There still should be some excitement involved. Right. Like, there should be some enthusiasm when you make a home run call or something like that. And I wasn't getting that from them at all. And the color commentating was really bad. I don't remember who the people even were. It was just that forgettable.
So, I mean, Peacock, I think T-Mac was on Peacock. Kruk was on, I think, Peacock as well.
Well, that would make sense with the NBC connection, but yeah.
So that wasn't as bad to me. However, the one thing I do like about Apple that they offer is that you can choose the radio broadcast. You can sync it with the game, so
you can get Scott Fransky.
I am a huge Scott Fransky guy,
of course,
and so that's a perk of the Apple games. Otherwise, I could live without it. So speaking of broadcasts, what are your thoughts on the Phillies broadcasts? We have a couple editions, or one edition mainly, this year. Where do you rank them? Like, how do you feel about them?
So we have T-Mac, I think, first of all, filling the shoes of Harry Kalas is just a really unfair ask of anyone. Sure. And T-Mac, I mean, they knew Harry was getting toward the end of his career. I don't know that they expected he was going to pass when he did or as soon as he did necessarily, but I think they realized that he was kind of getting to the end of his broadcasting career. So T-Mac was, walking around the stadium at one point. Then they would have him fill in for a couple of innings, just kind of easing him into it. But he's really good, I think. I mean, I know some people out there hate on him a little bit and don't like, for whatever reason. I haven't heard any really good reasons, because he's an even-keeled broadcaster. He doesn't get too up, too down. It's very in the middle. I like his home run call. He's observant, and I like how he and Kruk especially kind of give each other, kind of crap all the time, where it's like they're just making fun. You can tell they're genuinely friends, which is really cool to see. I like a Kruk. I have a Kruk jersey. I think I might have mentioned that on one of the earlier episodes. My wife got it for me this year for Christmas. Always loved him. He was my favorite player on the 93 team. And I just love his it's just, maybe it's because I'm becoming more of this mentality as I get older, of just like these kids kind of mentality. But, he, like with Taryn Hatcher, when she's walking around the stadium, kind of, trying new foods and stuff like that or whatever, he's always making fun of her for like being a vegan or whatever, just making fun of like what she eats and stuff. And he's like, who cares? I'll just eat whatever I feel like eating. I don't know. I like how they kind of make fun of one another in like a really friendly way. It's a great vibe. And I mean, I'm laughing so much when I hear Kruk just kind of spit out whatever comes to his mind. Yeah. So the two of them, definitely, Kruk's got to be the top color commentator in my opinion, because of that just attitude he has that's just really funny. This is maybe a less popular take, but I actually really like Ben Davis. I at first wasn't a huge fan of him doing that, but I think having played the game, I think helps. But I think he's gotten a lot more comfortable analyzing the games and a little bit better at not talking over, because I think that's something they all have to learn, especially former players, about when to chime in, when not to. And I think he's gotten a lot better at it. And I think he has good takes on stuff. I mean, I don't always agree with him, but I find as he progresses into this career for him, that I think he's doing a pretty good job. I actually like a lot of his takes and the way he kind of, analyzes the game. Ruben's probably the bottom one for me. I think, occasionally he has a pearl of wisdom, but I rank Ben above Ruben. And then we have Cole Hamels this year, I guess is what you're alluding to in addition, right?
Don't forget Schmitty too.
Yeah, I could do without. I mean, I know why they do it, but he's barely paying attention to what's going on. I think he's just sitting there reminiscing about the 70s and 80s pretty much the whole time. Great player, but I could do without him in the broadcast booth. Cole, we'll see. It's too early to tell. But anyway, how about you? What is your?
I was going to say, what about radio first?
Okay, I can do that. I mean, I like. I like LA as a classic. I mean, just, he's kind of phased out a little bit too. I think as he's gotten older, he's made a decision to sort of not do as many games. I think you and I talked about previously. Stocker, I think he's come along. I a lot of times when I'm watching the game, I'll have to go outside and like deal with my garden or something at night. And, it's like 7 something. It's like the 3rd inning or 4th inning, and they're playing. So I'll put it on my phone, the radio broadcast, and I like Stocker. He seems like he's gotten really comfortable. He's got a good sense of humor. He and Fransky, similar to T-Mac and Kruk, kind of jab each other a little bit. I like that. So yeah, I like that, and I like Larry Anderson's great too. I'm not sure who else is on the radio besides
Greg Murphy is on there too.
Okay, yeah, and Murphy's kind of he's been moving back and forth between TV, radio. He's kind of their wanderer.
Guy.
Yeah, exactly. No, Greg's good too. I like how he covers the stadium and player interviews and stuff like that.
Yeah. They a couple years back, our old Flyers play-by-play guy Jim Jackson was on there. He would spell
picks up extra hours. Yeah,
he would spell Scott Fransky between some innings.
He's not as good with the baseball as the hockey. I think he's an extraordinary hocky broadcaster. I love how he calls hockey games, but baseball,
he gets that same excitement, but at the wrong times.
Right, it's a single.
Swing and but for me, if I have to rank them, Scott Fransky is my absolute favorite voice in Philadelphia right now.
Okay.
I enjoy every single call from him. Like you listen to his pregame stuff. He always tells you he's going to tell the story of the game. It's just because every game is a story, and it's just the way he goes about his business, his dynamic with LA, his dynamic with Kevin Stocker. If I can get a chance to catch a clip of like a home run because I was watching the game or something, I'm going to try to find the Fransky broadcast of that, or his call of that particular moment, because the excitement, especially during the playoffs from Scott Fransky, it's out of this world. I think it's fantastic. As far as T-Mac goes, I do enjoy T-Mac as well. Him and Kruk are a perfect pair. They're peas in a pod, and I crack up every time I hear Kruk talk. My wife loves John Kruk too. So I want to get a chance to meet him at some point in the future. Hopefully we can.
I'd love to. Yeah, it was so good.
I'm going to rank both Ben Davis and Ruben Amaro at the very bottom. I don't like listening to either of them. I am not a fan of Ben Davis.
I think this is our first disagreement. For me, he's rising. Like, I think he's gotten a little bit better each season.
I think it's just a lot of repetition for him. He says the same thing, just a different way.
See, I think that's Ruben. I think Ruben does that stuff. He has little idioms that he just repeats, but I don't know. I think personally, I think Ben has gotten away from that more and gotten a little bit better at independently giving thoughts on things.
How many times I've heard Ben Davis say "short to it, long through it"?
Probably a lot.
That phrase has come out of his mouth so much, and then he talks about how smooth Trey's slide is. It's just it's too often.
Yeah, no, I won't disagree that he hyper focuses on certain things, but I do think, like, when a guy's not going well for whatever reason, he tends to be able to pick out what it is mechanically or something in a way that I don't think Ruben does. And Kruk just doesn't care about the mechanics. He's just like, what's going on with this guy? I mean, Kruk is a lot smarter than people realize he is. Like, he kind of has this, like, kind of this goofy guy, but he's a smart baseball man. I mean, he knows the game.
Absolutely is. He was a 300 hitter for a reason.
But yeah, I guess we have to disagree on the fact that but I think Davis is the B team on there, above Ruben but below Kruk.
They're both C team for me. I'd rather have Kruk on there all day, every day.
Well, give him sure, but if we're going with ranking them, I got to give Ben a little bit of credit. I think he's improved his craft a little bit. But
that's fine. I could live without both. I'm interested to see. I'm interested to hear what Cole has to say. I would assume there's going to be a decent amount of reminiscing from him as well, but he may have some interesting pitcher takes.
Well, he's new too. He's just stopped. just stopped playing,
Right.
and I feel like guys who have just come off of, whether it's football, basketball, whatever the sport is, I think they tend to have a very unique perspective from the broadcast booth in a way that a guy like Kruk or even Ben Davis at this point, because he hasn't played in years, would have. I mean, Cole pitched as recently as what, 2 years ago. I mean, he was injured a lot, but he was still on a major league mound, and I think that gives him a perspective, which I'm curious to see. I'm not sure how he'll do. He might not be good at it, or he might surprise us all and just be excellent at it. I'm very curious.
I wouldn't be surprised if we see him as a pitching coach, like especially with the way he threw the ball and his stuff, his arsenal. Yeah. I would love to have been a fly on the wall with his conversation between Andrew Painter and himself.
Oh yeah,
I would love to hear like, oh, this is how you're going to throw this change up, and then it could be otherworldly.
Yep.
So last thing with the broadcast, do you have a most memorable call from either of them, both of them, when it comes to T-Mac and Fransky?
Okay, T-Mac and Fransky. Obviously, the Harry Kalas one would be the radio call from the World Series in 08.
Yeah,
but
we're gonna leave that out.
Yeah, so I mean, for me, it would have to be Fransky with the Harper home run. What was it, 3 years ago now in the NLCS against the Padres? Yeah. That was a historical call in Phillies history, and I mean, just the event itself was, but then I think Fransky really captured it. The national broadcast wasn't bad.
No, it wasn't. Joe Davis is really good.
Yeah, no, but I mean, Fransky really that would be it. I mean, for me, and there's nothing against T-Mac. I think the problem is they cut the TV off, so the playoff moments aren't really there for T-Mac the way they would be. But he's had, I mean, he has some good walk-off calls in the regular season, stuff like that. He really gets excited, and I like that. But yeah, for me, it would be that Harper home run in 22 when essentially sent them to the World Series. Yeah.
Harper's grand slam against the Cubs, the walk-off grand slam where you get your trucks
upper
well timed.
Yeah,
oh my God!
Yeah,
that was T-Mac's best call that I can think of. And then Fransky, if it's not the LCS home run from Harper, it's the Reese bat spike home run. Like on crushed. Phillies are gonna lead it 4-0, and like that was. I get goosebumps every time I hear Scott Fransky in one of these epic playoff home run calls. Goosebumps.
Yeah.
But T-Mac does get to split some time with Fransky in the playoffs. T-Mac's Schwarber home run against Yu Darvish, that 488-foot bomb, that was pretty good too.
Yeah, definitely.
And if I have to say, I'm probably biased here, but we probably have the best broadcast crew when it comes to our top tier guys, our T-Mac and Crockett or Fransky LA, amongst all of baseball, at least amongst the other broadcasters that we see, which is ESPN, Fox, and TBS.
Well, and I get some of the Nats, so it's kind of confused. It's frustrating because when the Phillies play the Nats, because of where I live, it's blacked out on MLB TV. So I have a really tough time. But the good thing about that is that it's exclusively I can listen to the radio on MLB.com, as they do give you that. So I get to hear Fransky, which is great. I'm not seeing the live action of the game. But a few years ago, before all the TV stuff with, it was Mid-Atlantic Sports Network, there was all this. I'm not sure exactly what happened, but basically you can't get it there. I can't see it any of the Phillies Nats games, and but the Nats broadcasters drove me nuts. I said to my wife at the time, like, they have to be the worst in all of baseball. I don't remember what the main guy's name. I think it was FP Santangelo or something like that. He was a former player, but he was like their color commentator, and he didn't really, I don't think, offer very much. But then their main guy has to me, the worst home run call. It's see you later. It sounds like he's walking up like 12 flights of stairs. It's like, dude, are you out of breath, or like what is this? I think it's the stupidest home run call ever, and it drives me nuts. I don't know. That always frustrated me. But the Mets are whatever. I'm not a huge fan of Keith Hernandez. I know the Mets fans love him, obviously, but not a big fan of him on there. He's constantly trashing other teams, and I think that's just poor form. I don't like that. Because our guys will give guys credit. Like, like Crucker will call it like it is, whether it's good or bad. Like if someone's a good player, he's going to say, this guy's dangerous. You got to be careful how you pitch to, So anyway.
We'll also be like, what the heck is this guy doing?
Yeah, exactly.
As well, whether it's our side or theirs. All right. Any other any other notes on those guys there?
That was my rant.
All right. So we got week 2 of spring training here. Not too much, but I got a couple things. Any concern over Wheels and Luzardo getting touched up a bit?
Wheeler, no, not at all. Not even a hint of concern for me. He's a pro. He's the best in the league. I'm not concerned about him at all. Trying out new pitches, probably locations, whatever. We talked about this last week. Results really aren't the big deal. It's how does he look? Is he look healthy? Is he getting good velocity? He's doing all those things. I'm not really worried about him giving up some runs. That's not a concern. Luzardo, I don't know well enough, right? But the fact that he's healthy is a huge bonus at this point because injuries have been his biggest issue. If he's on the mound on opening day, to me, that's a success at the start because he's healthy. Mm-hmm. And if he's touching 96 to 98, that's another bonus. Those are two big things. The ERA will sort itself out. Everything else I think will work itself out. And again, he's our number 5.
Yeah.
If he even has an ERA of like 4, low 4s, that's way better than the stuff we were sending out there last year where we were giving up double-digit runs every time the 5th starter came up. So, no, I don't have any concerns about either of them at this point.
Yeah, Luzardo throwing 3 pitches and all 3 of them being taken out.
That was awkward.
That was weird.
Topper getting interviewed while it was happening.
Well timed. But
poor Topper. It's like, what is happening here?
As long as it's not happening during the regular season, I'm
right.
okay.
Exactly.
But I see that Tyler Phillips has got a balloon DRI here in spring training, so I don't expect anything as far as him with the big club. Next thing is Johan Rojas at the dish.
Well, yeah,
a little bit.
Tell me what you think. I know you had texted me about this, so what do you think about it?
He's making good contact and he's hitting the ball out. This is interesting because if you get this kind of player with his elite defense, forget you, Brandon Marsh. Like this is a guy that can change the team in quite a way. Do I see it for the long haul? Absolutely not. But it would be nice to think about what could be. Yeah, this is a what if situation. And what if Johan Rojas just so happens to blossom into this excellent ball player? Hey, we know what he provides on defense. If he can give us something solid at the dish, that once again deepens this lineup big time.
Yeah. No, I think it's obviously great to see him swinging the bat well. You know what you're getting from him defensively. That's really not a question. But seeing him make contact is good. He's gotten a little pop. I think he had at least 1 home run at this point, and he has 2. Okay, I think he's getting the ball out, and he's hitting the ball opposite field, middle of the field, which is where he needs to be. He shouldn't be trying to pull the ball inside out, drive it the other way. Don't try to do too much. I mean, again, he's going to be batting 9th in this lineup. If he could hit 250. That's all we need from him. Hit 250, get on base. He has speed. And I know they were trying to teach him to bunt. And I mean, I hate the fact that you have to teach a Major League Baseball player how to bunt. Because I say it all the time, and I don't think my wife believes me, but I was really good at bunting when I played as like a kid and a teenager and stuff like that. Yeah. It was like you had to know how to bunt. Like that was a part of doing it. Now they don't teach it. And I mean, I'm coaching T-ball now. As my son gets older, I will be teaching every kid on the team how to do it because maybe not spend as much time on like the 4 or 5 hitter doing it, but you should know how to do that. And a guy with speed especially should know how to do that because all you have to do is put the ball in play, have a fair ball, and you can run it out a lot of times. So, but I think it's good that he's squaring the ball up. But I agree with you. I don't expect it'll last because we've seen, the last couple of years, and I think we know what we can get out of him. He might have one better year than a year before or something like that, but he's not going to be a top of the lineup game-changing player at the plate. I just don't see it happening. But yeah, no, it's good to see that appears comfortable at this stage of spring training.
He was reassigned to minor league camp, but his future replacement in Justin Crawford was hitting pretty well. So I was happy to see that he got his experience with some big league arms and hit over 300 the last I saw. So that's always a good thing.
Yeah,
Aiden Miller finally got a hit today, and he smoked the Gapper, the left center, got a double today
in the minor league
which
camp.
Was nice to see too.
Yeah, well, no, he was
at the big club
talking
today.
to Harper, but like there's been a lot of, apparently he had been spending a lot of time talking to Bryce Harper, which that's great. Yeah, obviously not the same level of expectation that Harper had at his age, because Harper was it's just a generational player, basically.
For sure.
But Miller's very good and has the potential to be an elite player at the major league level someday. He's just not going to do it as quickly as Bryce did, because that's just not where he is. But talking to a guy like Bryce Harper is never a bad thing. He was saying this is his 15th spring training, Bryce Harper.
Right? It's nuts.
Well, he was 19, right, when he started,
Right.
I think. So
we were just kids then too, it seemed.
I know.
Then there's one of your guys here, Alec Boehm.
I don't know if he's one of my guys.
He's not so much one of mine right now.
I think I give him more. I have more faith in him maybe than you do. Is that fair to say?
Sure, absolutely.
All right. Yeah, I mean, he's tearing the cover off the ball right now.
Yes.
And not just how it looks, how it sounds. I love the two homers he had, especially that second one. The one I think just barely got out, maybe it was, but the other one was like. It was and he knew it too. Like, yeah. I mean, so you want him playing confidently, but not too cocky, because when he gets too cocky, I think that's when he goes into his slumps. He thinks, oh, I can't miss. I can't, I think he needs to live in that confident, but not cocky place. But right now he's looking really good. And, I think he knows, we talked about it. He knows it's a contract year. He knows what's on the line. I think there could be, if these guys stay healthy, this could be a really fun, dangerous offensive group. There's the talent is without question there. It's about health and execution, and if guys like Boehm and Kepler, who I think we're going to get to him here in a minute, if they can execute, in addition to the really big guns like Harper, Schwarber, Casty, Turner, those guys, it's going to be really hard to stop this lineup.
So Alec Boehm can be really powerful. We know he's not a power hitter, but when he lifts the ball, it goes far.
He's 6'5".
His homer was
extends his arms.
Right. He texted me yesterday. He hit the homer yesterday, and he knew it right off the bat. Like, Is there any better sound in sports than just a purely hit baseball?
No, it's beautiful. I was saying that to my wife the other day too. I'm like, that's such an awesome sound. And she just looked at me like I was crazy, but
some the tickets that we get from my work, it's right 7 rows from the field, and you hear every single sound, and it's the crack of the bat, like especially like when Harper hits a home run. Anyone, Schwarber crushes one. It's music to my ears. I love it so much.
Yeah.
But no, it's good to see Boehmer hitting. Keep it up. Don't make me regret having a little bit of
faith
or excitement here. As I previously mentioned, if he hits that 0 for 20 slump, I don't know. It's always worrisome for me.
I know,
but looks good so far. Keep it going. Maybe he's just generally happy right now. I mean, he's in a relationship. He's happy now. So maybe she's keeping him in line.
Yeah.
All right. So you mentioned Max Kepler.
Yes.
Tearing the cover off the ball. He's hitting close to 350.
He looks very comfortable at the plate, in the clubhouse, around the guys. All those things important for a new guy coming to the club. And, time will tell. We'll see how the regular season goes and everything. I just have a good feeling about him. I don't know why. Even before I saw him in spring training, I thought there was this was a good ad. I think obviously wasn't making a ton of headlines around the league, understandably.
Mm-hmm.
But another guy, if he's healthy, if he's on the field, I think he's going to do damage. I think he's going to drive runs in. He's going to get hits, and he's going to play a reliable left field. I mean, he's not going to win a Gold Glove, but I think he's going to make the plays that he needs to make. He's not going to have any blunders,
Mm-hmm.
And I think, he looks really comfortable at the plate right now.
And like knowing that I mentioned early on, that might have been the first episode. He's not a world beater, but he could make a difference. He can change a few games. He's going to change more than Austin Hayes changed.
Oh yeah,
he's going to change more games than Brandon Marsh is going to change. It's a good thing. Take this 1 year flyer on him. Maybe it can bloom into something bigger for him. So let's see what we can get out of Max Kepler. I'm happy so far. Keep producing.
Yeah.
And then interesting news came out this week about our guy Bryce Harper. Mentioning he's willing to move to the outfield for a possible first baseman to come in, or he at least mentioned it to management this offseason that he was willing to do that, to bring in a guy like a Pete Alonso. Like, that's an interesting process for Bryce. I know he wants to win and he wants to do whatever it takes to win, and I appreciate that. He's got a lot of potential at first base to be a Gold Glover with the defense that he provides. But if it brings us another arm that's serviceable at first base, I wouldn't mind seeing Bryce in left field.
Yeah. I guess that's the question. I don't think it's a conversation for this season at this point. I mean, yeah. I know that it maybe in this offseason it came up when Alonso was kind of hanging out there for longer than maybe was expected. But what I'm looking at is next offseason, Vladimir Guerrero Jr.
Yep, that's exactly who I was thinking too.
And I think Bryce is thinking about that too, because if you have the opportunity to sign a guy with that kind of a bat in a park like Citizens Bank Park, I think you got to look at doing it. Mm-hmm. And also, Casty, I believe, this is his last year, right, on his contract?
Next year is
he has one more year?
Yeah, Schwarber signed
up for Schwarber's got the 1 year. So, that would make that tricky, because I think I'd be inclined to give Schwarber another, like a 2-year deal or something like that, and move on from Nick if it meant moving maybe Bryce back to the outfield in favor of Vladimir Guerrero at first base. I know we're getting ahead of ourselves here, but it's a fair question because there's a lot of considerations. You don't want Bryce getting hurt, and there is a lot more potential to get hurt running around in the outfield than there is at first base. Sure, you can get stepped on, with a runner running, you can get hurt anywhere in the field, but statistically, you're more likely to get hurt running down a foul or a fly ball in the outfield than you are standing at first base. And Bryce doesn't play a lazy first base by any means. He's very active and athletic, yes, and like you pointed out, I think there's a Gold Glove or two in his future at that position. But it's a tough thing because he wants to win. He's won the MVP. He won the Rookie of the Year. He's done all the individual stuff. He wants to win a World Series. Adding a big right-handed bat to that lineup might be a huge step in the right direction for that.
That'd be the perfect guy too. I know he's probably going to command a lot of money from a rival team, but at least take a run at him. We have to. I mean, if Bryce is willing to make that change for this team, you got to give him the chance. You got to give him the shot to win.
Well, and the other thing you can think about is, maybe it's only for a year, and then maybe Bryce moves to back to first base, and Vlad goes to DH. Like it might not be a long-term thing. Exactly. There's options. It depends on what happens with guys like Castellanos and Schwarber too. But it's an interesting thing to think about for sure. I am a little concerned about the injury because Bryce, as tough as he is, he just does seem to get beat up. And, playing first base will unquestionably lengthen his career as opposed to playing the outfield. I think we all know the fact that he signed till he's like 40, he'll be a DH by the end of his career. Absolutely. I think that's just expected. And he's probably going to get another year or two. I know they've talked about that extension that he asked for. And honestly, I'd give it to him. Even at 41 years old, I'll take Bryce Harper batting DH at 41 years old if you have like a bunch of young guys around him, because he's still going to probably be able to get you 20 home runs even at 40 years old. Right. Like, it wouldn't surprise me at all. Yeah, I don't know, but is Is that who you're looking at, Vlad, too? Is that
Yeah,
what the big?
it's got to be. That's the first name, the first guy I thought of as soon as I read that little piece about it. That Vlad Guerrero Jr. could be a Philly. That's crazy.
Exciting.
But I mean, I do as well see Bryce as a future DH. And, if for some reason Schwarber doesn't re-sign with us, you could see Bryce at DH a lot sooner than expected, or at least rotate with somebody to be DH a lot more often, so that way he can rest his legs, rest his arm.
Yeah, definitely.
Because I love watching Bryce in the field. He's ultra aggressive, sometimes a little bit too aggressive when it comes to being a first baseman.
Diving into the stands.
Yeah, that and making plays that he shouldn't be making when it should be Bryson Stott going for the ball, or should be.
He's still figuring out the range.
He's
still figuring out how far to the right he should go, like you said. And honestly, I think the more he thinks about it, Stott has incredible range. Stott's going to get to a lot of balls to his left. Bryce doesn't have to go that far, but it's difficult when you've played the way Bryce has played in his career to just kind of, rein that in. And he's doing better. I think each year he gets a little bit better about not going too far away from the base. And he's made some really good scoops over there, great diving plays. So it's a good position for him. And it strengthens our team to have a good defensive first baseman. Because as much as I loved Reese, he was just not good defensively. Bohm was okay over there, but Bryce is leagues above both of them defensively at first base.
I agree. I think Bohm was serviceable. Reese was not good at all at first. I can go talk for a while about Reese and playing first base, but that doesn't matter anymore. He's no longer a Philly.
Right.
But give me what you can, Bryce, and then we'll see what happens in the offseason. So no notes there, or nothing else. So we're going to kick it to our new segment, Kids Corner. First, we're going to send it to Calder, which is Brent's son. We're going to ask him what team he was drafted by and what he's most excited for this year when playing.
So, hey, I'm here with Calder. So, Calder, what team are you going to be this year?
I'm going to be on the Phillies this year, and I'm excited to use my bat hidden with both sides, left and right. And I can't wait to use my new glove that's it's bigger than the smaller one. And my dad said I might be able to use it more times of catching than the last time.
All right. Thanks, Calder.
After that, we're going to bring it to Noah, my oldest son. I'm going to ask him the same thing and see what we got out of him.
Hi, Noah.
Hi,
What team are you drafted by this year?
I'm on the Phillies.
And to go along with that, what are you most excited for when playing this year?
Like, maybe like connecting with my new teammates, like becoming friends with them.
Any goals?
To get 10 hits.
10 hits, not bad. Let's do it.
Okay. And there you have it.
And there you have it. Hope you enjoyed that, folks. We'll sprinkle that in again.
And yeah, we're looking to do that moving forward where we can. Obviously wrangling kids and getting them to focus, at least mine, is not always the easiest task, but Calder was very excited to do this. He's been listening to the podcast. He's a loyal listener on his iPad. He listens. I walk in, I'll hear my own voice. I'm like, what is that? And I really hate to hear my own voice. It's weird that I do a podcast and I hate to hear my own voice, but it's true. But no, he's excited, and he's very excited to be featured on this. So, and I'm sure Noah is feeling the same way.
Noah's also a loyal listener. He has his AirPods in, so I don't have to hear my voice. So he was apparently listening to our pod is good luck for him when he's playing video games. So he was playing Madden the other day, and he kept winning. I was like, okay, if listening to our podcast,
I'll take
gets
it.
You some wins. It's a win for me as well.
I'll take it. That's great. Well, and
you got, bud, too.
My daughter Emerson also expressed interest, and my wife said, do you know baseball? And she goes, no, I don't know baseball, but I'd like to be on the podcast. So she's a big fan of Brandon Marsh. I know you're not going to love that, but she loves his beard. and she likes his hair. So she may come on and just talk about that. I don't know.
It's okay.
But very different energy than Calder,
Yes.
too. I mean, he was a little more subdued this time, but when he gets really worked up about something, he can bring the energy. So
I love
yeah.
that. So, fun fact: my wife is also a Brandon Marsh fan.
My wife is not.
I don't know why, but she's got that. After he interviewed it might have been one of the ESPN games. And he made up a band.
Yes, I saw that. Yeah, when he was on, he was live on. Yeah, he was saying what instrument. Yeah,
yeah. So yeah, she bought a shirt. It's like a Guns N' Roses looking shirt with their skulls on it with the hair and all that. So she had to get it.
He's a character.
Yeah, he is.
He is a character, and he's got talent. It's just the consistency, like you pointed out. If he can get it more consistent, it would be great.
Yeah. Maybe next week we can mention what Topper said about him.
He seems to. He gave him a vote of confidence there moving forward. So yeah, we can talk about that maybe next time.
Another time. All right, Brent, are you ready for Guess That Philly?
Well, the question is, are you ready? Because I'm asking you.
I'm ready. I gotta open up the vault a little bit here. So let's see what we got.
All right. So, this player, this guy,
I would assume.
Yeah, unnecessary filler there.
Yes.
He played for the Detroit Tigers, the New York Mets, the Phillies, which of course that's what we're talking about. We're talking about him. The Red Sox and the Braves. So a pretty good range of teams there.
Journeyman.
He played for 9 seasons.
Okay.
And he was drafted in 1988. His first season was in 92, and then played from 94 to the end in 2001. So it looks like maybe he went back to the minors during 93 after the 92 season, and then his full career was basically from 94 to 2001.
Wow.
So he actually, this is an interesting thing. He hit the first ever home run at Coors Field back in 1995. First ever home run. I wouldn't have known this, but I thought that was interesting.
For whom?
So I actually don't know what team he was on at that point.
Okay.
I have to see.
It wasn't the Phils.
It wasn't the Phillies. He wasn't on the Phillies. He was on the Phillies from 1997 to 2000, I want to say. 97 to 2000, yes. So that was his longest stint, too. That was the most years he played for any of the teams he played for, was that 3-year span with the Phillies. So, yeah, I can go this way. He was with the Tigers in 92. Then he was with the Mets from 94 to 96. Phillies from 97 to 2000. Red Sox in 2000. So I guess he got traded from the Phillies. And then the Braves in 2001. And then that was his last year. Batted left, threw left.
Okay. Tell me something.
Yeah.
Is this man a first baseman?
Yes, he was.
Okay.
Go. You know it.
Yes, I think I do. It's one of my a fun name to say. It's a good Harry Kalas name.
You got it. I can tell.
Rico Bronya.
Yes, very good. Very good. You got that. You got that quick. That was, I think we both did pretty well the last 2 weeks. I think the first 2 weeks stumped both of us pretty good. The last two, our second round respectively, we both did really well. But yeah, I didn't even get to his jersey number. I don't think you
number 2.
It was number 2. Yeah. He was the cleanup hitter for us. That's how bad we were during that time.
Really
nothing
bad.
against you, Rico, but that was those were dark times. I mean, it was not good times.
Okay.
So.
I had to think about some of the teams. Like, where did he come from?
The Mets. Yeah. I remember him being with the Mets right before us. I had no memory of where he went after us, though. Honestly,
I think I thought about the Mets. Like, huh. I had to think, and then the time frame was interesting.
I thought it was. I guess. Yeah, I knew it was after. I knew it was late '90s, but I guess I didn't realize it. I don't know what I thought it was. But 3 years isn't bad. I guess that tracks though, because he really wasn't there a long time. But I knew it was more than like a year or so.
2001's not that long ago. It feels like.
Well, yeah,
it is, but it's not.
But anyway, so yeah, that was that one. You did a great job. Very good.
Thanks. Thank you.
Did you applaud yourself?
Oh wait, you know what? I should.
You always forget when it's you.
I know. So I get a little
There you go.
here and there, but that's all right. That's okay. I'm so focused on thinking that I forget about the sounds.
All right. Well, that brings us to the end here of episode 4, and I think we had some really good stuff here in this one. There's some varied subjects, and we'll have more for you next week. Another episode or another round of Guess That Phillie, of course. I think that's a staple that's here to stay. But we want to thank you all for joining us for this episode, and make sure to follow us on Facebook at Phillies Unfiltered Podcast, Instagram at Phillies Unfiltered, and then on Twitter/X at Funfiltered. That's PHUNPHILTERED. Jim, any final thoughts?
Did you forget one last announcement? I might have forgotten as well.
Well, I don't know if I forgot. I guess the kids have done that, but are we
going to be featured somewhere else for somebody?
Oh,
to
I'm sorry. I was
listen or
thinking about
watch?
us both being the Phillies for Little League teams, but that's to me the biggest announcement. But
that's pretty cool, though.
But no, you're right. Thank you for reminding me, Jim. Yes, we are going to be featuring moving forward now on YouTube, full-length episodes. So you'll be able to find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and then on YouTube as well. And that is Phillies Unfiltered Podcast that you can find us on YouTube at. So we will share all these links on our socials so that you can find us wherever you would like to find us. If you'd like to see us talk about this, YouTube's the place to go. If you only want to hear us, then you have those options too. So
I don't blame you.
yeah, that's fine. So thanks everybody, and
Go Phils.
Go Phils. Bye.